You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
First podcast, 2021. And the news gods, they are throwing me up a gift. No party in Portland. Violent end to 2020 as riot is declared in the city with protesters smashing windows and throwing Molotov cocktails at the cops. Oh, that's a juicy one. This is going to be a good one. I just know it. Let's jump on in. If you're new here, my name's Sean Reynolds. I'm the owner of a couple of real estate companies, but nobody cares about that. Sean, read the news. That's what I'm doing. All right, this is Daily Mail Online, and thanks for all of you who sent links and this news story. People just let me know, hey, we want you to cover this story. This is a good story. And then I'm going to do another podcast here shortly. By shortly, I mean right after this one. Mayor Ted, the mayor of Portland, is saying, this group known as Antifa, we're no longer on board with them. They are running around. They are destroying our city. Good gosh, we can't have this anymore. Got some changes going on. We'll talk about that. Let's get into this one. This is Daily Mail Online. I just read you the title. Here are kind of the overall things of what happened. This is New Year's Eve. A group estimated to be around 100 people gathered in downtown Portland at around 9 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Maybe they were there just to hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and watch the New York Times ball drop. Do you think so? Was that their game? No. Ooh, no, not this group. Footage showed police moving in to break up the gathering as fireworks were thrown in their direction. Would you like to have fireworks thrown at you? No, that's not what you want to do. When I was a kid, we used to have Roman candle wars where you'd throw it, but I could take out somebody's eye. Not good. Officers were seen firing tear gas and using pepper spray and non-lethal ammunition, local reports said. Well, that's because they were being hammered on, right? Tear gas, pepper spray, and that should be the very minimum. They should be able to use whatever it takes to put these people in their place. The protest was dispersed around 2 a.m. on January 1st. A statement from the police said earlier today. How many overtime hours did the citizens of Portland just pay to have all this stuff taken care of? Because you didn't have enough cops on the street to help the other people getting whatever. You got these Looney Tunes running around, breaking into businesses, looting, destroying, and firing crazy stuff at police. I mean, fireworks at the police. Lock them up. That's all I can say. A riot was declared in Portland at around 11 p.m. on New Year's Eve as protesters smashed windows and threw firebombs at cops who shared pictures of smashed Molotov-style cocktails on the street. A group estimated to be 100 people started gathering at 9 at the federal courthouse in downtown Portland, according to local news reports. Crews from Fox 12 said they witnessed fireworks being shot at the building, with police later confirming this. I watched this too in Portland. I was down there this past summer. I watched this too, and I'm like, that's a concrete-clad building. It's not going to catch on fire. What are you doing? It's steel and concrete. What are you doing? What is your malfunction? I'm just going to throw some fire. This is my statement. This is how this is my legacy. I'm going to throw fireworks at a commercial building. Okay. You go be your bad self and do that. I don't understand, but I guess you're making a statement. What kind of statement? I don't know, but it's not a statement that I need to see here or have my tax dollars pay for. A gathering in downtown Portland has devolved into a riot, Portland police tweeted at 11:37 local time. Participants have thrown multiple firebombs at officers and launched commercial-grade fireworks at the federal courthouse and Justice Center. They're always hammering on the Justice Center where the jail is, and then the courthouse, which is basically next door. It's like, don't you guys have jobs? Don't you guys have something better to do? Is this really your statement? Footage from the scene showed police moving in to break up the gathering as fireworks were thrown in their direction. I'm looking at a photo here, and this is from the Daily Mail article. Literally fireworks just coming in and going out. Police are in their riot gear. They've got on full like shields, clear shields that say police on them. They're just all decked out. And there's just fireworks going back and forth. What a crazy scene. Since when can you throw fireworks at the police? How is that even a thing? Makes no sense. I'm sounding old. Federal police face protesters. This is the capture for the picture. Shortly after Riot was declared. All right, I already told you about that. And then I got a picture of a guy, one of the Antifa members, with his fist up, and he's watching a fire burn. They lit a dumpster on fire. Oh, nice job. Well done. That's the statement you want to make. You know what? How did you bring in New Year's Eve? I lit a dumpster on fire. Damn, it was the best dumpster fire you have ever seen. The flames, they must have shot up like 4 feet out of that dumpster. I mean, there was good stuff in that dumpster to really catch fire. That's going to be a smoldering mess for weeks. I don't know. Now I'm looking at a photo of a Starbucks. Starbucks got rocked. From what I can tell, in other news stories that I read, these Looney Tunes clad in black, they basically ran around with their umbrellas because they thought it was going to rain. No, they do that so that they don't take heat from the police when police actually throw stuff at them. And they can also hide their identities so they don't get identified by people because they're doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. You got to have umbrellas. You got to have a lot of umbrellas so you can hide what you're doing out in public behind an umbrella. So we got a Starbucks here. It's rocked and broke in there, but it's okay to hammer on Starbucks, even though Starbucks, they kind of supported the whole Black Bloc movement initially, right? Amazon, Starbucks, companies donated a lot of money and then you go in and destroy them. I don't know, folks. 2021, not looking good for Portland. In a statement released in the early hours of January 1, the police said they became aware of a gathering at around 7:45 p.m., saying the crowd soon became violent. At least 2 Molotov cocktail-style firebombs were thrown, and large commercial-grade aerial fireworks were launched at the federal courthouse and the Justice Center. Some individuals tried to use tools to break into the Justice Center at 1120 Southwest 3rd Avenue, but were not successful. It reminds me of when they tried to use quickset concrete, to throw a firebomb in the East Precinct in Seattle. Quick, throw a Molotov cocktail into the East Precinct and then concrete the door shut. Oh, concrete takes a long time to set up. Oh, wow. That can't take that long, right? Yeah, that didn't work out. These guys are not geniuses. Some individuals tried to use tools to break into the Justice Center, but were not successful. It continued before adding that officers had to be pulled from answering other emergency calls to respond to the protesters. So, if you're in Portland on New Year's Eve and you had something bad happen to you or your family and the police didn't come or they didn't come for a long time, you can blame these knuckleheads right here. All right, let's see what else we got. What other goodies do we have? I know there's more good stuff here. Bunch of pictures. Officers were attacked with large rocks. Oh, good. Full-size bricks, not miniature bricks, full-size bricks, and frozen water bottles. I love it when the news stories say, oh, they were just throwing water bottles at them. Yeah, but they were filled with water, and guess what? They were frozen. You know how bad that would hurt? Get hit in the dome with a frozen water bottle? Yeah, that's just a big flying chunk of ice. Some officers were targeted by paint balloons that may have been laced with a caustic substance as it caused burning to the skin. Ouch. That's a new one. I have not heard that one. The statement from police claimed some law enforcement officers suffered injuries, although no Portland police officers were hurt. Good. Authorities previously announced that people could face riot control agents if they did not leave the area before police advanced on the ground at 11:15 p.m. The protesters responded by shooting fireworks at them, according to KOIN, local station down in Portland. If you do not leave, you are subject to arrest, citation, and or the use of force, including but not limited to impact weapons and tear gas, the police tweeted. I say don't warn them, just do it. Just launch on these people. Meanwhile, DHS officers also faced off against a group on Southwest Main Street where pepper spray or mace was seen being used by officers while the sound of non-lethal ammunition could be heard, the network said. There were reports of a Starbucks window being smashed and looted, as well as crosswalk sign. Oh, a crosswalk sign was set on fire. One of a number of fires spotted in the area. Police also said piles of debris were formed in the road. So they light things on fire. They shoot fireworks at cops. They bring a bunch of garbage and crap and put it in the street. They put up barricades where they shouldn't. Didn't do that on this one, but only because they probably didn't have enough time to gather some random barricades and get all set up and have a meeting or whatever. Police first declared the gathering an unlawful assembly at around 10:30 p.m. before declaring it a riot soon after. And when they declare it the riot, then that's when they can go and just do their stuff. The cops can. The declaration came just 1 hour before Portland and the rest of the West Coast rung in the new year. In a later update, Portland police wrote on Twitter, much of the crowd has been broken up into smaller groups and spread out downtown. A large amount of burned debris will continue to block Southwest Main Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. That's where the federal buildings are. The statement said that the crowd had mostly dispersed by 2 a.m., with the police claiming that no CS gas was deployed by Portland Police Bureau during this event, but inert smoke and some impact munitions were used, contrary to local news reports. Let them use tear gas. Let them use whatever it takes, as long as it doesn't kill them. Even if it maims them a little bit, I don't know. I think these guys have caused enough damage. They need to get the message out that this kind of behavior is not acceptable. You can't be doing this stuff. You just can't. But it just keeps happening and happening and happening. All right, here's a tweet from a Jennifer Dowling from KOIN 6. A gathering in downtown Portland has devolved into a riot. Participants have thrown multiple firebombs at officers and launched commercial-grade fireworks at the federal courthouse and Justice Center. And I've watched a bunch of videos. You guys want to follow Andy No, NGO? That guy's he's a pretty amazing journalist. Literally puts his life on the line to kind of follow some of these news stories and get the footage out. He's pretty heroic. He has taken a beat down from Antifa, sorry, however you want to pronounce it. According to Fox 6, as of 11 p.m., there have been no confirmation of any damage or of a motive behind the protests. Although a flyer from the gathering said, in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, and no streamers, no megaphones, no masters. That's interesting. No streamers, no megaphones, no masters. They don't want any masters. They just want anti-everything to be just have at it. The demonstration was organized and advertised through posts made online and came one day after nearly a dozen businesses were vandalized in the city over the previous night, according to Portland police. Damaged buildings included Portland City Hall, Portland City Bureau, Oregon Historical Society, and TriMet. Nice. It's a nice grouping of buildings that got vandalized. Police said that no arrests have been made, but an investigation was ongoing. Well, from what I can tell, the heat's going to get turned up on this stuff in Portland because long term, you can't have this stuff just kind of going on. That's a no-go. Politically, this is a no-go. But also, we're talking about Portland here, right? In July, the Trump administration ordered National Guard to quell violence in the city, leading to violent clashes where tear gas was deployed and dozens of protesters were arrested. That's when I went down there. When we had that whole, there's federal agents in unmarked cars that aren't dressed up, that don't have their name tags identified. Those guys are just jumping off the sidewalk and scooping people up, and they're taking people hostage. Just random people off the sidewalk. That's when I went down. Because you know what it was? It was federal officers guarding federal buildings, and they were basically taking people off the streets that they had watched and videotaped from higher up in these buildings doing damage on the street level to federal buildings. Those are the people that they were talking to, questioning. A little discussion. We need to have a little open discussion. What were you trying to accomplish there? Looks like you got a blowtorch and a can of spray paint. What are you doing? All right, so that's about it on this article. But now I'm going to go, let's get the real meal deal. Let's get the real meal deal from Law Enforcement Today. New Year's Eve celebration in Portland turns into declared riot, fireworks shot at police, and the courthouse. New Year's Eve celebrations in Portland reportedly devolved into riotous acts, with fireworks and other incendiary devices being lodged against the federal courthouse and law enforcement within the city. According to reports from Portland police, firebombs have been said to hurtled at police officers and were famed at the courthouse. We've kind of gone through that. All right, let's see there was a couple of things in here. The firebombs described by the Portland Police Bureau were later clarified to have resembled Molotov cocktails, in which 2 of them were reportedly thrown by members within the amassed crowd. So we definitely know that this kind of just nonsense is everybody just knows this nonsense is going on. And Mayor Ted, he's going to take some real heat. If he doesn't get this stuff under control, that's just not going to be a good look. I think there's going to be some real changes. I think Antifa is going to be hung out to dry. And it will be entertaining to watch as that happens. I think Black Lives Matter will still get a hall pass because their original message is probably more politically correct than what it's devolved into, which is just these peaceful protests, which invariably, because of these black bloc groups, turn into violent riots. I've been to one peaceful protest where it actually was peaceful, but even then I think a couple of people got arrested because they were doing stuff they shouldn't have been doing. But none of these gatherings or protests that the major media has declared are peaceful protests, almost none of the ones I attended where I was reading in the news, hey, that was a peaceful, that was not peaceful, that was violent. And Portland, I think, is, they're on a whole nother level. They're on a professional level. When I was down there, they were the federal courthouse. This was when Trump was literally saying, hey, Mayor Ted, if you're not going to do your job, we're going to come in and do it for you. And everybody got all worked up. Oh, they got all worked up and, this is no good. Oh, this is crazy. We can't have the federal government coming in and doing our job. No. Instead, you just let these violent protesters keep going for days and days and days and days. So the federal building eventually brought in this big metal cyclone fence that was supposed to be the Mac Daddy that you couldn't really do anything against. I took video and it's on our YouTube channel, probably the same one you're watching this one on. But if you're not, you're listening to the audio podcast. I've got a bunch of video of my youngest son and I. I know, quality father-son time. We went down to Portland and they basically destroyed, about a block length of federal cyclone fence of just super heavy duty metal fence. These guys are pros. They know what they're doing. They can take down a fence. Then what do you do with a metal fence? Well, then you hop into that area and you have a little party. You bring some garbage in. You light stuff on fire. And then you light fireworks off against a building that won't catch on fire. It's some genius stuff here. That is really sending a message that I'm going to pay attention to. It's like, you guys are good at fire. You guys are good at throwing fireworks at the police. What does your skill set transfer to in the real world? I am not sure. I'll need to get back to you on that, though. The violence, back to the article here. The violence from the crowd has prompted a declaration of a riot. All persons in the area of Southwest 3rd Avenue around Southwest Main Street are ordered to leave to the south and west immediately. You read this and you hear this, and when you're at these things, you hear it over and over and over because the cops give you about 20 different options to hear this same message. And then invariably, they'll come out and they'll do this stuff. They'll basically clear the scene and somebody will say, well, but they didn't give us any warning at all. All of a sudden, they just jumped off the street onto the sidewalk. We don't know where they came from. And they scooped us up and they took us. Yeah, you got arrested, you dummies. You were doing something you shouldn't have been doing. It just blows my mind. Here's another quote. This is from the police telling these people you got to leave. If you do not leave, you are subject to arrest, citation, and or the use of force, including but not limited to impact weapons and tear gas. Good. That's what should happen. Some reports from the riot allege that people were also attempting to utilize burglary tools to gain unauthorized entrance into the Justice Center. Like what? A pry bar, hammer, hatchet, crowbar. Crowbar and pry bar, same thing. Never mind. But those attempts were reportedly unsuccessful. And what are they going to do when they get inside? There's a bunch of federal agents in there. Yeah, we got a breach on door number 3. I mean, did you guys see the footage from this summer when the federal agent was coming out of the door right here at the buildings we're talking to, the federal building, and a guy had a big, huge hammer, big, huge, massive hammer. He's just going to smack him in the head. But the federal agent got the door open, and they made the black bloc guy, I can't remember, just run off, I think. I think he just ran off like a scared little girl. So looking at a video here, Andy No. Man dances around a street fire while holding an axe at the Portland Antifa riot outside the federal courthouse. I watched this. It's literally this guy. He's kind of doing like an Indian dance with a small little hatchet. It's not really an axe. Small little hatchet. He's kind of dancing around the fire, and you've got cops lined up in full riot gear with their clear plexiglass shields. I mean, it's just the nonsense stuff that's happening down in Portland. It just makes you go, well, glad I'm not in Portland, although I'm only a short distance away here in Seattle, and we've got our fair share of this stuff happening here as well. Items such as large rocks, bricks, and frozen water bottles. All right. Yep, we already read this stuff. Is there anything good in here? Officers did wind up using some impact munitions and inert smoke to clear the area. Some businesses were also damaged in the riot as well, but there's currently no detailed report on to what extent it was at this time. And the police, they got the crowd to disperse at 2 a.m. Multiple arrests were reportedly made as well, but officials have yet to detail the exact number and the identities of those arrested as of this time. We just got some black bloc action going on in P-Town. I mean, what I kind of see happening, and I just, I said it earlier, is I think you're going to see the division from Black Lives Matter and Antifa. I think you're going to see a division there because that storyline and the message that's being sent politically no longer, it can't really sway the elections, right? The peaceful protests can no longer be identified as peaceful. And this kind of stuff, this doesn't really look good for Black Lives Matter. And yet this is what's been going on for months and months and months and months. And this has been going on for 7 months? Mayor of Portland, Ted, you got your work cut out for you there. What you supported earlier in the summer? Doesn't seem like you're supporting that all too much. You're going to have to put the hammer down. You're going to have to figure something out. There's going to be a total political turnaround. Mayor Ted's going to have to go, oh my gosh, we can't have this kind of anarchy in our city. We need to clean this mess up. Even though he was down there supporting these guys earlier in the year. Crazy. Nuts. All right, that's it for me on this one. I'm out of here on this one. I hope you enjoyed reading yet another story about Portland. But what a way to start off 2021, right? Portland, you got a mini riot. Well done. Job well done. I'm kind of thankful because I got to be here and be with you guys reporting this important news stuff, right? All right, I'm going to go do another one. I'm going to rail on Mayor Ted. I'll catch up with you on that one. See you then. Until then, stay safe out there. I'll see you soon. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.